So if you're considering moving to Gilbert, but you aren't quite sure if it's the right fit for you, today I'm going to take you on a tour. I'm going to show you some of the most common places, some of the most beloved places of Gilbert to hopefully just give you an idea of the overall vibe of Gilbert and even see if it's an option for you or if you should start looking in other cities in the East Valley. And the reason I'm even making this video is I actually had a client, they were relocating here and actually found me on YouTube, and they were moving here for work in the East Valley. They didn't know exactly where they wanted to be. They thought they had about 6 months, but then she called me, panicked one day, and she's like, Courtney, we need to find a house like ASAP. They moved up our transfer date and we're actually gonna have to be like in our house all the way moved in 2 months. We don't even know what part of the East Valley we want to move to. And I was like, okay, I gotcha. So I actually created this tour for her to drive around. So that way in a very quick amount of time, she could even figure out if it was the right vibe for her and if she should even pursue looking at homes in Gilbert. They did end up falling in love with Gilbert. They ended up buying a house and moving here. But I will say I've had a handful of clients that drove around these places and they were like, maybe this isn't for me. I am Courtney Strelzik. I'm a local real estate agent here in the East Valley, and I help a lot of people who, maybe have moved here in the past handful of years or are relocating here. So if you have any questions or you're interested in working together, my contact information is below. Now, the first place that we're going to stop at is downtown Gilbert, often called the Heritage District as well. And this area is like, it really shows how Gilbert's the perfect blend of like that small town feel and also city life. Now, most of the year is beautiful here, so I would definitely recommend parking your car and just walking up and down that main strip or even around like the water tower. It's a great place to kind of just chill. And if you have kids, it's an easy place to let them just go run around. And if you have time to catch a meal, I would definitely recommend either Snooze, Prep Pastry, and just a little bit south of downtown. Is technically not in the downtown area, but there's the Gilbert House. It's probably my favorite place for breakfast in Gilbert. Or if you're here for lunch, stop at Liberty Market. And then Oso Brewery is also a great outdoor area. If you're here on a weekend and want to catch like a football game or something, they often have that on their projector outside. Really cool space. And if you want to go on a walk, there's the Power Line Trail. This is on the north side of downtown and it goes east to west, but you can go on here for miles. If you're training for a marathon, this is a great trail to run on. Now, our next stop, we're going to go a little bit further east in Gilbert, and we're going to go to the Riparian Preserve. This is a natural outdoor space, and it really is kind of crazy. It's in the middle of the suburban city, but there's walking trails there. You can go fishing. A lot of wildlife there. It really is just a place where you feel like you can go and be like, relaxed. I will say in the summertime, even if you go like really early in the morning, just because of all the water, it feels a little extra humid here. But really any time from September to May, it's gorgeous. I was actually just running through there last weekend. And while you're over in this area, Dana Park is actually a big like center with restaurants and shopping. If you want to catch lunch there, Aubergine's, I think I'm saying that correctly, Aubergine's Kitchen is a great place for healthy, natural food. Now we're going to go directly south to Agritopia. And this area has, I don't know, it might be the coolest spot in my opinion of Gilbert, and it has just grown in popularity, particularly in the past like 3 to 4 years. Not even that, maybe 2 to 3 years really. So what exactly is this place? So it was actually originally a farm owned by the Johnson's family, and they actually have an actual neighborhood with homes, but in the center of it, there is this community farmland, beautiful walking trails, and then there's a lot of staple restaurants in Gilbert. The coffee shop, that's a great place to stop for coffee. I go there actually to get a lot of work done. It's just a really good atmosphere. And then Joe's Farm Grill, this might be, if you haven't been there or you're going to hit one restaurant in Gilbert, I would say this is probably the token restaurant. I don't know. If other people think differently, let me know in the comments. It really is one of the most popular restaurants in Gilbert. But the part that's really brought a lot of popularity to Agritopia is a couple years ago, they built this center called the Epicenter, and they put in some higher scale restaurants in the bottom. They have Buck and Ryder, great happy hour there, by the way, great deals. And then you also have, they're coming the end of this year, they're going to put the Mission in there, which is like a higher scale Latin fusion restaurant. And we can't forget Air Guitar. Air Guitar is like this fancy convenience store. And I know, okay, when I say convenience store, that doesn't sound very exciting, but it honestly, it's probably the coolest convenience store I've ever been in. And they do have a couple like local vendors that sell items here. Now for the next stop, we're gonna go southwest on the 202 and go to SanTan Village. Now SanTan Village is our main shopping area in Gilbert, and not just people in Gilbert go here. I would say definitely people drive from Mesa and Chandler. It is a huge area and there's everything there. And I do want to say this is SanTan Village, not to get confused with SanTan Valley, which is its own city. Now, SanTan Village is a huge area. There's a lot of big shops, like you have Nordstrom's Rack, you have Dillard's, Barnes and Nobles, all those type of stores. They're actually opening a Whole Foods next year in SanTan Village. But there is an actual like outdoor mall area, and that has Lululemon, Everlane, White House Black Market, those types of stores. And honestly, it's just a good place to drive by to see, you know, what day-to-day life might look like in Gilbert and what the people are like here too. There's also TopGolf on the north part of SanTan Village. So if the weather's nice and you want a little break from your driving tour, you're not gonna have a bad time here. But now we're gonna head south and we're gonna go to Gilbert Regional Park. Now I do have to make a note, Gilbert has a lot of beautiful city parks. This is probably the newest. And as a rule of thumb, the further you go in Gilbert, the further south you go, things are just a little bit newer. But of all of our parks, I would say this is probably the biggest and nicest park that we have. I mean, there's everything there. You have tons of pickleball, you have sand volleyball. They actually have an outdoor amphitheater there and they have different events. They're actually doing, in this next coming month, they're doing a concert series, Pitbull and like Genuine's going to be there. It's a really random concert, but either way, they put on great shows. There's a lake there. You can go fishing. You have beautiful views of the SanTan Mountains. And then as far as kids go too, the playground there is pretty awesome. If I was a kid, this would be like my top pick for playgrounds. And then during the summer months, they also have a splash pad for younger kids. So this is definitely an area I would highly recommend just driving and checking out to kind of get an idea of, yes, the culture and the day-to-day life here in Gilbert. And ultimately, the best way to gain clarity if Gilbert's the right place for you or not is really just getting your boots on the ground. Now, if you go in the comments below, I have a pinned link where you can actually get an email, and this will give you direct Google Map links. So you can just, if you're doing this driving tour, you can just click on these Google Map links and it'll take you from spot to spot. And then I'll also have a list of different restaurants and things to check out along your route. And if you have any specific questions about Gilbert, just comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much.